Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our WWE show for the week. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, David Otunga.
Drinking my coffee out of my giant thermos. Gary Rhodes, everybody.
Yeah.
I can't think of the South African guy's name. Or I call you him, with the bangs and shit.
Oh no, his partner was the Jobber Jr.
Oh, no, Jobber Jr. Anyways.
We start off the night with John Cena. After it had been published that they were going to start off with the highlight reel. But Cena comes out, gets his normal response, decides he's going to change it from an ambulance match to a 3 stages of hell with a lumberjack match, a tables match, and then an ambulance match to finish it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the 3 stages of hell were specific, weren't they?
Yeah.
It was
a regular match,
then a submission match,
or no holds barred match, then a cage match.
No, I thought it was a regular match. No, it was a no holds barred, a submission, then a cage. Was what I thought it was.
The one Austin and Hunter had to start off with a regular match, then it went to a hardcore for them, and then it was the cage match where Hunter won with he beat Stone Cold with the hammer to the head, remember?
Yeah.
That was that one. I don't know. I mean, there's been different variations. I am not a fan of a lumberjack match.
The lumberjack part I don't like. The tables match I'm okay with because we've seen Cena
lose the table matches before.
Well, and we've seen him be in tables matches, which kind of he's on the. I mean, it mixes it up because they usually stick him in last man standing. That's almost a specialty match. Ryback comes out, pretty much agrees to it, which brings out Paul Heyman. And Heyman says, while you guys talk about this, I got the future world champion right here, Curtis Jobber Jr.
Kurt, Axel,
Rotten.
Whatever. And he was, don't be hard on the guy, man. He's the future of the business.
Yeah.
I hope.
He's a future AWA world champion, just like his dad and grandpa were.
His grandpa never was good enough to have the AWA championship.
Oh, he had it.
No, he didn't.
He did.
No, he didn't.
All he has to do is go and take it from Waller.
Anyways.
Which sets up the main event for later. Curtis Axel challenges John Cena.
Our first match of the night was ADR versus Biggie Langston.
I really like the chemistry between these two. Biggie Langston looks great against Alberto Del Rio, and vice versa. Alberto looks good against Big E.
When Biggie first came out, when he was just a corner guy for Dolph, I was really kind of hard on the guy. I'm really still not a fan of his finisher, but
the big ending.
But I like the guy's work in the ring. I mean, he's proven himself to be a legitimate monster. I mean, I don't see him that way, but he's actually becoming a big monster, especially when they had their tag matches against Kane and Bryan.
Yeah. You know what I'm waiting for him to bring is something he used in NXT, which was he demanded the ref count to 5.
Oh, that's right. The big, not Big John said,
King
Kong Bundy count.
Yeah, I wish he would bring that into the show. But I thought it was a good match for a first match of the night. It was a precursor to the next match, which was Dean Ambrose versus Kofi Kingston. I think this is the 3rd time they've wrestled.
Yeah, it's the 3rd time. This is the rematch for the United States Championship.
And this is the best of the 3.
Oh, definitely. Dean Ambrose, the man is a monster. Not size-wise, but wrestling-wise. He's like what they call Kurt Angle, a wrestling machine. That's what this kid is.
You know what I really like about these two, and I'm going to say it on the next match too, is this is the 3rd time they've wrestled, and every match has been totally different. Yes, they have their high spots. They hit the Trouble in Paradise, their moves, but every match has been wrestled differently. It looks like a total different match, which in this day and age, and the way, I mean, Kofi, I think, I've always been high on Kofi. Kofi's finally getting to work with somebody that's giving him just as much back as he's putting out, and the matches are coming out phenomenal. Just like when Kofi worked with Cesaro a few months back, the matches came out phenomenal. And this, again, I don't see why either of these guys couldn't be world champions.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. And like you said, with this next match coming up, I agree with you 100% on that too.
Team Hell No versus Rollins and Reigns. I had read one of our friends had posted on his Facebook that he was getting tired of seeing these teams go against each other. You know, I get where he's coming at because they are putting them against each other a lot in 6-man tags or just regular tags. However, again, it's a different match every time, and you got 4 of the absolute best wrestlers in the WWE in the match.
Oh, I agree with you. You know, it doesn't get boring. Now you can remember back who was they had a thing with years ago. They had just kept having match. Actually, you don't have to go years back. You can go to the ADR Sheamus.
Yep.
It was the same match every time. You got tired of seeing it. Nothing against ADR or Sheamus. It's just the two of them didn't try anything original. They worked off the same script as they did the first match, and it does get boring. I'm
really getting tired of Sheamus, but we'll get to that later. He wrestles later on. This was probably, in my opinion, the match of the night.
I'd have to agree with you. It's a tie to me between this and the Kofi and Ambrose match. I like, a Shield members in the matches I like.
There you go. The next thing we had a Triple H update talking about. They didn't say concussion. They danced around it. Said he had some memory loss and he hasn't been cleared to travel yet. But basically, he has a concussion, and they're hoping he could be back next week.
Match I really wasn't into too much. It was Wade Barrett versus Fandango.
With The Miz as a special ref. As voted on the app. Did you get on the app and vote, Gary?
No.
I voted.
What'd you vote for?
I voted for him to be a commentator.
There you go.
Anyway.
Anyways, I'm so tired of the whole app thing. I try to ignore it when we do our show. Unless it's something very stupid, which this was stupid too.
Yeah.
Didn't really care for the ending. Didn't really care for the match. Didn't really care for the beginning.
The only thing I see that's going to be decent coming out of it is it's setting up a 3-way feud between Fandango, Barrett, and Miz. I don't know. I just hope that Miz doesn't come out beating both of these two guys.
What I'm hoping is it's going to be a way to make Fandango stay heel, get the Intercontinental Championship, and Barrett stay heel. Just put the face in there to get the pin.
You know what I've seen, and I hate to keep saying this, but I've seen on Facebook last night, I forget who posted it, it gave the 3 options for the Miz, and then they wrote in a 4th option, future endeavor, and going to TNA.
I'd have voted for that on the app.
Now, next thing we're going to go right talking about voting brings us kind of into what we do here, our question of the week. Now, last week's question was, can you see Titus O'Neil becoming a main event wrestler in the WWE? Now, before we get to our opinions, let's read off some of what our friends have said. First, from our friend Josh Adams. I like Titus and I believe he could go far in singles. Have him and have Black Cena manage kind of like Steiner or buff douchebag Bagwell. Good opinion there. Next is from our friend Handsome Pat Fannin. I think Titus could win a world heavyweight championship via Elimination Chamber or Money in the Bank, but he is 36 years old. WWE doesn't have a lot of time. Next, from our friend Lou over at the Deadly Sins. Titus could be a decent main event guy. They also need to get him away from Darren Young. And also, do you think Swagger is going back to being a jobber again? Yeah, he is. He's going right down the ladder fast. Next is from Lou's partner, Paul over at the Deadly Sins. First he says, welcome back, Gary. And no, I don't think Titus could be a main eventer because of his age, and that subject I don't talk about. Since he doesn't talk about it, I don't know what he meant there, but the age thing has been brought up a couple times. And last but not least, our friend Closure, Donis. I could see Titus main eventing if the primetime players ever break up, but considering his age, it has to be soon. Seems to be the consensus is he could do it, but he has to do it quickly because he's getting up there in age. I could see it. Without getting into too much of a racial talk and a racial tone of it, Christopher Titus. Titus O'Neil. He's kind of... Vince McMahon is trying to push a black wrestler into that upper echelon for the last 20 years, and he keeps picking guys that are failing. Ahmed Johnson, Bobby Lashley. I mean, go up and down the list. There's countless number of them that are big, huge guys, and Titus kind of fits that category. However, I think if Titus was given the ball and let to run with it, he could finally be that guy, be the guy that breaks through, be the African-American superstar that he's been trying to get ever since Junkyard Dog. I think Junkyard Dog and somewhat Booker T were the last two. I mean,
Vince didn't make Booker, so.
Yeah, and Ron Simmons, he never really got that huge push. But, not, like I said, not trying to be overly the color thing, but I think Vince wants a guy there, not just because of that, just because of the market he would bring in. What do you think, Gary?
I kind of disagree with everybody with the age thing, because a lot of people are harping that 36 years old is old. It is older, but the guy's already on television. He's been a Florida Gator, so he has a lot of followers from that point of view. You look at a guy like Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg came in at that same age, became a world champion many times over.
Well, Bill Goldberg was 27 when he started.
Not WCW?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought he was already.
You're thinking someone that would be comparable would be more like DDP.
Well, DDP didn't even get into the business till 35 years old.
Yeah.
So even then, that's another one. I always thought Goldberg was older because he had all the gray hair. But anyways,
if you look at it, if you think about it, I understand what you're saying. Most wrestlers, Sting's in his 50s, Hogan's in his 50s, late 50s.
Yeah.
A lot of wrestlers wrestle to their 50s. He could easily wrestle for the next 10 years.
But what I'm getting to is, I think the guy isn't too old for nothing right now. It's wrestling. It matters if the guy has the heart for it. I think he does have the heart for it. I think he needs to be with somebody that could teach him something. If they put him with Ron Simmons as a manager, someone decent. If he had like a Teddy Long or
Titus O'Neil would not Titus O'Neil, Darren Young would make a good manager.
I think someone with more experience to help him out. If he was a Heyman guy, you're talking about Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman could turn this guy into a monster. Well, you already got him on television. You take him off TV for a month, put him with Paul Heyman, be one of Kurt's number 2 guys. You'd have a main eventer in the works.
I really think he can. I see a lot of potential in the kid. He's got a look. He's got charisma. He's got the it factor, and he's good in the ring.
He's damn sure right. He has to look. He's what, 6'7"?
Yeah.
He's almost 300 pounds. The guy, and he can move. He can move.
A lot of that comes from his football background.
Exactly. I see a big future in his hands. It's just a matter of WWE plays it right.
Now, speaking of future, our question of the week for next week is going to be, the WWE seems to be going in a youth movement, maybe not necessarily a youth movement, but a new wrestlers coming in, an influx of new talent. You got guys like the Wyatt family's about to debut, the Shield, Fandango, the Primetime Players, Big E Langston, Curtis Axel, and they're all getting put into big roles in the company. Who do you think is going to be the breakout star of this youth movement? Kind of like 2002, the early 2000s, the breakout star of that youth movement was John Cena.
Before Brock was.
Well,
but Brock gave up. Long run Cena. Well, we were talking about this before. It doesn't have the feel of the '96 youth movement, but it has the feel of the 2000.
When they brought in the Rock and
Rock, Austin, Triple H. The mainstays of the company.
Yeah.
This generation could have the mainstays.
Exactly. But let us know what you think, who you think that guy's gonna be, and we'll give you our opinion next week. Send it to us on our Facebook, put us on our Twitter, hit it down where?
Down there.
Right down there in the comments.
Up next, our next match was basically the piss break match of the night. 3MB versus Tons of Funk and Khali.
Good.
Well,
next
anyways,
match.
Exactly. Well, there wasn't a match. We had the highlight reel after that.
We'll just cover it real quickly. It was terrible as terrible. It was Cleveland Brown terrible.
They need to apologize to Mellow 5, all of them.
Wow, you're bringing that one back.
I'll bring it back because that's how bad that match was. I'd rather have seen Jim Ross's colonoscopy again than that.
Wow.
That's how bad it was.
Okay, moving on. Next, we had the highlight reel with Paul Heyman, which probably was one of the highlights of the night. The main things coming out of it was Paul Heyman saying, he's brought up all this talent. He said,
even Jericho.
Matter of fact, Mr. Jericho, didn't I give you your American break?
Yeah, Paul, and you still haven't paid me yet.
There you go. Which was funny, touche.
You just take it off of the amount you're paying me for your show.
Yeah. They went back and forth very well. It led to Jericho challenging CM Punk, which Paul Heyman agreed to accept the challenge. But a good little segment. We complain about segments like this, like Miz TV, because a lot of times they're just dead air, dead weight. When they're good like this and they further a storyline or create a new storyline, it really adds to the overall show, in my opinion.
Well, I kind of hope that this does work out to a nice little feud between Punk and Jericho, even if again, because I like their feud from before.
Again.
I mean, didn't you like their feud?
Yeah, it was good.
They worked good together, and like we were talking before, they worked a lot of different matches, but all their matches were different.
Yeah. I mean, Jericho knows 1,004 moves.
Damn right. Next,
Punk only knows 5.
Now, if you go to the next match, between the 4 of them, only one of them probably knows 1,004 moves, and that'd be Natalya.
And Natalya and Caitlyn versus Bellas. I'm not going to harp on this. I thought it was a good tag team match.
Oh, it was better than the 3MB.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. Could it have gotten a little bit more time? Yeah. Caitlyn costs Natalya the match. The Bellas sing her happy birthday again. Isn't it funny that they like to do this on WWE? She's at her hometown. It's her birthday. They make her lose. It's kind of like whenever they would go to Oklahoma with Jim Ross, that's where he joined the Kiss My Ass Club.
Or just get his ass beat by all.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it funny how they like to humiliate people in their hometown?
I think Brett kind of started all that,
Yeah.
The whole I'm not going to lose in Canada thing. Then it was Bret Hart Appreciation Night. Maybe that's another.
And his niece loses.
There you go. The next segment you were very high on. You got to watch this again. Is the Wyatt family vignette. And I like the old school vignettes.
It was great. I loved it.
It reminds me of back being a kid. When they did the vignettes back then. The vignettes were awesome. I don't know why they got rid of it.
You know, the best one of all time.
Who's that?
Sergeant Slaughter.
When he wanted his country back.
Was that the one where I don't remember what time, but he was driving around on the tank and everything?
Yes, I want my country back.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
Yeah, his vignettes were awesome.
I liked Razor Ramon's vignettes.
Yeah, they were good too. The rip-off of Scarface.
Yeah, the whole, Chico.
Some ones were terrible.
And I know you're not going to say Mr. Perfect's vignettes because they were the best vignettes.
There was a jobber that threw a football to himself.
No. Mr. Perfect did have the best vignettes of all time.
No, there aren't.
No, they were perfect.
No, they were great.
Anyways, I mean, you can rip my boy all you want to.
Hillbilly Jims were good. Remember Hillbilly Jims, him training with Hulk Hogan?
No. Anyways.
They were actually good, though. I mean, they were very entertaining.
I just woke up. Anyways, I like the Wyatt family. We were sitting there talking, trying to compare Bray Wyatt to somebody, and I would go to say he's like a heel Dusty Rhodes. He's a heavy-set guy that can wrestle fast, talk great.
The easiest comparison is Waylon Mercy because it's pretty much the same gimmick.
Yeah, but as far as the ability of this guy, I think he's got a lot more ability than Waylon Mercy.
Waylon Mercy was Dan Spivey. The only problem with that was he was at the end of his career, and his knees couldn't hold up, so he couldn't not do the job, but do the part right.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see them on TV. They're one of the highlights of NXT, in my opinion. And plus, now it means it's only a matter of time before Cassius Ohno's up there.
Mm-hmm. With Bray Wyatt's move, you were talking about it, where he knocks him into the corner and starts dancing with him.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's an awesome little setup there. I've seen a match that Jericho had when he went to NXT to wrestle him, And it was like a 15-minute match, and it was a solid match. It wasn't like him wrestling a jobber or nothing like that, or a kid. Bray Wyatt can go.
He's a Ferrari with a tank engine, or what was it they used to say on NXT?
But the thing is, I gave his brother a hard time with somebody one day, and I didn't realize his brother's only 22 years old.
Yeah, his brother's young.
Yeah, so really,
he's only like 25.
Yeah, but he's 5 years ahead of his brother.
Well, yeah, but still. Speaking of sons and brothers of former greats, we had the Rhodes Scholars with Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton and Sheamus, which is Dusty Rhodes and Bob Orton Sr.'s kids. I thought it was a fantastic match. I thought it was a decent match.
On Sheamus, that's what your thing was earlier.
The thing I said about Sheamus earlier is we're getting so overkill with Sheamus. It's almost like, the easiest example I could think of in pop culture is like when a good song comes out, like Gangnam Style. You hear it once, you're like, oh, that's kind of catchy, that's cool. You hear it a couple times, you're like, oh, I like that. Next thing you know, you hear it 500 times a day and you're tired of hearing it. And that's kind of Sheamus to me. He wrestles on both shows almost every single week. A lot of times he'll wrestle both shows and main event. I just have Sheamus burnout. I need him to go away for a little bit. Not that I don't hate Sheamus. I'm just tired of seeing him. Give me a break. You got a deep roster of talent.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. You got this one guy. He's wrestling, we'll say, 3 times that week. You got some guys in the back that haven't had a chance yet.
When's the last time you seen Kurt Hawkins on TV? JTG.
Exactly.
Not saying they're great, not that they're on the level of Sheamus, but let the fans decide.
Well, they got to work out with Hunter to get to that level.
Yeah. Let the fans decide. Let us see these guys. Sheamus overkill is. I'm suffering from Sheamus overkill.
Oh yeah, I'm already tired of him.
And
I've been tired of him the last couple months.
It's the same moves over and over again. The clubbering thing, the brogue kick.
Looks like he's taking his lessons from Cena. He's like, Cena, should I do 5 moves or 6? I'll just do 5.
And speaking of Cena, our main event of the night, John Cena versus the newest jobber in the WWE, Curtis Axel.
Curtis Axel, the one who got the win in this match over the WWE champion, and beat the 12-time WWE champion last week.
Barry Horowitz has 2 wins too.
And he beat what's his name?
Sin Cara.
Hey. As much money as they spend on Sin Cara.
When jobbers wrestle jobbers,
as much money as they spend on Sin Cara, it counts.
It's kind of like Dwayne Gill when he won the tournament to get the light heavyweight title. He's winning by default.
Anyways. That was a decent match.
It was alright. I'm just giving you shit because he's your guy and your favorite son. I really think Curtis Axel does have a solid future in the WWE, and I think he's someone that could be a higher upper card semi-main eventer, kind of like a Christian, where you could always put the Intercontinental title on him and he looks good, and every now and again he's a transitional world champion. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying anything bad about him at all.
Well, his age right now is kind of...
he's already done more than his dad ever did.
Anyways, folks.
Did his dad ever beat Triple H?
His dad
or John Cena?
John Cena was an inch in his dad's pants when his dad was wrestling.
I don't think he ever beat either of them. But anyway, let's go right into our rating system.
He managed Triple H.
If you guys have seen us before, we go from 1 to 5, and for those of us that don't, 5 is the best, 1's the worst. A 1's a John Cena, 2's a Big Show, 3 is a Sheamus, 4 is a Daniel Bryan, 5 is a CM Punk. What do you give it, Gary?
3. Sheamus.
I give it a 3 as well as Sheamus. Some really good stuff on the show. The main event was actually good, as much as I'm giving it shit. The Wyatt family promo was great. I loved it. Everything with the Shield involved was great. Some of my lowlights were Barrett Fandango, the Rhodes Scholars, and Orton and Sheamus, which was okay, not great. 3MB versus Tons of Funk, +1.
I'm not birthday to you. Anyway, Sorry, folks.
But basically, that's all I got to say.
That's it for me.
My name is George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
And this has been Heel Heat.